Good morning, friends. Today we are looking at solving equations with the distributive property. So we are going to practice distributing, and then we will solve those equations once everything is distributed. Again, you have the directions right here at the top, and let's go ahead down to example 1 and dive right in. So just in case you forgot, what this means when it's pressed right up against the parentheses is that it is multiplying by the difference of 2x and 1. So in order to distribute, I'm going to multiply by the first term. Negative 5 times 2 would be negative 10x. And then I'm going to multiply by the second term. Negative 5 times a negative 1, negative times negative is positive, so this would be plus 5. Everything else here continues plus 3x. That should say equals 2. I'm not sure why it didn't get there, but that's what it says. At this point, I now have something that I recognize. I see like terms, a negative 10x and 3x, so I'm going to simplify those or combine my like terms. If I have negative 10x and then I add in 3x, I'll have negative 7x. The 5 stays the same, it is a constant, and the 2 again stays the same. So the only thing I'm doing on this step is I'm combining like terms. At this point, we have that easy two-step equation. We're going to isolate the variable by removing the constant, negative 5 from both sides. What I have on the left is negative 7x, and on the right, 2 minus 5 would be a negative 3. At this point, I remove the coefficient, and I'm going to isolate the variable absolutely by itself. In order to do that, I see they're pressed up next to each other. That's multiplying. So I'm going to divide by a negative 7 on both sides, and I find out that x is equal, negative divided by negative is positive, so x is equal to 3/7. So the first thing I did was write the equation, then I distributed. Then I'm going to combine like terms. Isolate the variable. Then I removed the coefficient. And I am left with my solution. I believe my solution to be x is equal to a positive 3/7. Now, when I go to check, I'm going to write this exact equation the way it originally was. So negative 5 times the difference of 2x minus 1 plus 3x equals 2. And every time I see x, I'm going to put a positive 3/7. So negative 5 times the difference of 2 and 3/7 minus 1 plus 3 times 3/7 equals 2. And that looks very, very messy. But you do remember that order of operations is parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. So we're going to do these parentheses first. The negative 5 stays. In the parentheses, we have 2 times 3/7, so that would be 6/7 minus 1 plus 3 times 3/7 equals 2. 6/7 minus 1 would be a negative 1/7, so negative 5 times a negative 1/7. Make sure I can see that that's a negative. Plus, and I can go ahead and simplify this, 3 times 3/7 would be 9/7 equals 2. Negative 5 times a negative 1/7 would be a positive 5/7 plus 9/7 could be equal to 2. 5 and 9 is 14, so 14 sevenths. 14 sevenths, 14 divided by 7 is 2. So that does check out. My solution is x equals a positive 3 sevenths. All right, so let's look at that again in example 2. The first thing I'm going to do now that my equation is written is I'm going to, oops, wanted to change pens there. Okay, there we go. I'm going to distribute. So I have 4 times 2x, which would be 8x. 4 times a negative 7, which would be a negative 28, equals 20. I don't have to combine like terms. That is not a thing in this one because I don't have like terms. In order to do that, I'm going to isolate the variable. Using inverse operations, what I see is subtracting. I'm going to add 28. It's a balanced equation, so I'm going to do it to both sides. I'm left with 8x equals 48. Now we pay attention to that coefficient. I see these are pressed up next to each other. That reminds me that's multiplying. So I need to divide by 8 on both sides. And I believe x to be positive 6. When I check, go back to that original equation, 4 times the difference of 2x and 7 equals 20. Every time I see x, I'm going to put 6. 4 times 2 times 6 minus 7 equals 20. Again, I'm following that order of operations. Parentheses comes first. So 4 times 12 minus 7 equals 20. 12 minus 7 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. It does equal 20. It checks out, and my solution is x equals 6. All right, so let's move on down to examples 3 and 4. Here we don't actually have any distribution, but we have variables on both sides. So I need to get the variables on one side, and then I'll deal with the constants. So this one is a positive, and this one is a negative. If I remove a negative, I add it. So let's pull the variable over here so that it stays positive. So my first step is combine like terms to get the variable on only one side. I'm going to add 2x. That x is pressed up next to the 2, so you have to take it with the negative 2. Add 2x. So this becomes 0, and I have 9 on the left side. 4x plus 2x is 6x, and that 15 is a constant. Now I have the variable on one side. I still have a constant over here, so we'll use inverse operations to remove the constant. I'm seeing subtraction. I'm going to add 15 to both sides, and I end up with 6x on the right. 9 and 15 is 24. I need to remove the coefficient. I'm going to use inverse operations again. What I see is this coefficient is pressed right up against the x. That tells me that I'm multiplying. So I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides, and I'm left with x equals 4. So I believe my solution to be x equals 4. Rewrite the equation as it is originally written, just in case you made some kind of mathematical error in your combining. So rewrite it the way it is written. And every time I see x, I'm going to put a 4. So negative 2 times 4 plus 9 equals 4 times 4 minus 15. Order of operations. I don't have any parentheses technically because these are multiplying. I don't have any exponents, so we're going to multiply. Negative 2 times 4 would be negative 8. The plus 9 stays the same, so we're not doing anything to it. 4 times 4 is 16, and the subtract 15 stays the same because we're not doing anything to it. At this point, we're combining like terms. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1, and 16 minus 15 is 1. It does check out, so my solution is x equals positive 4. All right, this time we have distributing on both sides of the equation. You can only distribute one at a time, so we're just going to work left to right. So we're going to distribute first. Oops, that's a U. 5 times x, 5 times a positive 8, and I have the other side of my equation. Negative 2 times x would be negative 2x. Negative 2 times a negative 13 would be a positive 26, because a negative times a negative is positive. All right, so now we're getting something that we can work with. We have variables on both sides. I want to get them all on one side. In order to do that, I'm going to look. Here I have positive, so I would subtract 5, and I have a negative over here, so I'd have a very negative x. I don't really like to divide by negatives. That's just me, my personal opinion. So since this is negative, I'm going to go ahead and combine the like terms to the left side by adding 2x to both sides. So we're combining like terms. I end up with 5x plus 2x is 7x plus 40, because we didn't do anything to the constants. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0, so that leaves me 26 on the right-hand side. We'll use those inverse operations to get the constants all on the opposite side, or isolate the variable, whichever you want to say it. I see adding, I'm going to subtract 40 from both sides. I end up with 7x on the left, 26 minus 40. So if I take 26 from 40, I'm left with 14. So the negative 14 would be on the right. We'll do inverse operations again to remove the coefficient. I see that it's all pressed up next to each other, so I'm multiplying there. I'm going to divide by 7, and I've run out of room, so I'm going to write it over here. X is equal to negative divided by a positive is a negative. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So I believe x to be negative 2. In order to check, I'm going to write it exactly the way it was written originally. Equals negative 2 times the difference of x and 13. And now every time I see an x, I'm going to write what I believe my solution is, negative 2. 5 times the sum of negative 2 and 8 is equal to negative 2 times the difference of negative 2 and 13. All right, so now we're going in the order of operations. We have to do our parentheses first. 5, that's a weird 5, sorry. Negative 2 plus 8 would be 6, equals negative 2 times negative 2 minus 13 would be a negative 15. Oops, negative 10, nope, that's positive. Okay, 5 times 6 is 30. I believe this will work. Let's see, negative 2 times negative 15. Negative times negative is positive. 2 times 15 is 30. It does check out my solution. X equals negative 2. All right, at this point, I want you to pause the video and do the you try. So you are going to try for yourself so that you can see where you get stuck, where you have questions, or if you don't get stuck at all. If you do get stuck, you can always rewind and rewatch any of the questions, or refer to the steps at the top. Good luck. I know you're going to do great, and I'll see you back in just a minute. And you're back. How did you do? If you have questions, make sure you write them down or mark where they are so that you can ask in class. So here we have on the you try, we don't actually have any distributing, but we do have variables on both sides. This is negative and this is positive, so I'm going to remove the negative by adding inverse operations. 7x and 4x are 11x. I know these are like terms because they both have the variable. The constant of 9 stays the same. This zeroes out and we have 90. At this point, we remove the constant and isolate the variable by using inverse operations. Add 9, we have 11x is equal to 99. Using inverse operations, we remove the coefficient, divide by 11 on both sides, and I have that x is equal to 9. This is what I believe my solution to be. Rewrite the question exactly as it was written originally. And everywhere you see an x, you're going to put a positive 9. So 7 times 9 minus 9 equals negative 4 times 9 plus 90. We do not have any parentheses because these parentheses mean multiplication. 7 times 9 is 63 minus 9 equals negative 36 plus 90. 63 minus 9 would be 54. Negative 36 plus 90, or I could think of this as 90 minus 36, would also be 54. It checks out. So you should have gotten x equals 9. How did you do? Yeah? Okay, well, if you got stuck, make sure you ask questions in class. The you try 2, we do have some distributing, so we're going to start with that. Distribute 3 times 2x would be 6x. 3 times a negative 5 would be minus 15 equals 2x plus 1. Now we're back to where we started on you try 1. Let's get those variables on one side. I'm going to choose to do the inverse operation to remove the variable from the right. And I end up with 4x minus 15 equals 1. Inverse operation to remove the constant from the left. And I have 4x equals 16. Inverse operation to remove the coefficient, divide by 4, and I have x equals a positive 4. Going for the check, write the problem exactly as it states in the ink. And then we're going to substitute in a positive 4 every time we see x. So 3 times 2 times 4 minus 5 equals 2 times 4 plus 1. All right, parentheses first. 3 times 8 minus 5 equals 8 plus 1. I'm not sure why that's getting crazy. 8 minus 5 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 8 plus 1 is 9. It does check out. My solution is x equals 4. All right, pat yourself on the back if that made sense. If you got stuck anywhere, no worries. You are learning this, so make sure you're asking questions in class. If there was just, you got really, really stuck, make sure you communicate that with your teachers so that they can help you. That is what we are here for. Have a great day.